Let's say that we are beloved friends. How we got there, you can imagine that in your own mind, but not only are we there, we are at the point in our lives where sadly we must part ways, albeit temporarily. Upon that parting, I gift you, let's say, a sword. Antiquated, I know, but for simplicity's sake, we all know swords and their uses, so let's pretend this is several hundred years back, when something like that was not only a gift of necessity, but also life, not so much a novelty. Sometime after I leave, you are using the sword and the blade gets dented. Swords are meant to be used after all. Well, it turns out the dent is pretty deep and the blade needs to be repaired or fixed. A shame, but again, sword blades do break. So you opt to have the blade repaired, but upon some reflection, you decide the balance was not best for you. So you have the blade adjusted slightly with the smith. All is well that ends well. Well, all isn't that well, as the blade side is now different from the scabbard that you were gifted. So you also opt to get a new scabbard, and sometimes later, mayhaps while sparring or saving some dame in distress, a large chunk of the wood on the handle chips off. Luckily, you have a friend who does work in this vein, and she makes you a new one at a nice price. All is well that ends well. Well, after some practice, you realize then that the cross guard is rather small with the new blade and handle. So once more you seek the help of the smith and buy a new one, actually trading in the old one to get a little bit of a discount, and boom, you are now all set. One day, while doing what it is you decide you should do with the sword, the blade is once again cracked. This time though, you opt to keep the design, but opt for a new blade as the smith recommends a new steel that he has, sort of his specialty. So you go ahead and not only get a new blade, but with all of that money that you have come into recently using that sword, you decide to get a matching pommel, which is the end piece opposite of the point of the sword that basically holds the handle together, and a scabbard, so it all matches. So all is well that ends well, and a few days later we meet again. After catching up, a big hug, eating and drinking, and sharing some well-deserved time together, I ask about the sword and how it has worked out for you. You say great, and you hand the sword over to me, and I take it, turn it around, give it a once-over, and I say back, "What's this? This is not the sword that I gave you. Is it?" This is the analogy of the broken man. I will never again be what I was. I will never again be who I was. I do not think who I am right now will be me forever. I will probably be broken once or twice more. Most of my life, I've been broken and left to piece myself together. As a child, as a young boy and a young teen, I did not know how to do that. So I did the best I could with what I could, each time becoming slightly less recognizable to the person I am today. But the way I see it, I guess I was just being beaten slowly into the person that I was supposed to be. We often forget that to make a tool, you have to rip something from the earth and then light a massive hot fire and then beat that thing into the shape and form that you want. If that is what it takes for me to be a better father, a better man, a better friend, and a more moral and self-aware person, then it'll be what it is. Every break has led me here, closer to God, closer to my daughters, and indeed some of you. Just because something is broken, that does not mean it no longer has a purpose.